So, further indication of what I just said in the video that I just did, showing that people like me now cannot even, it's been for quite a while now, aren't even allowed to comment, on anything controversial. Before, I used to at least be allowed to type anything I wanted and then they'd take me down. Now I get a red box. So as I was also showing, and I'll go back and start again, the whole thing, obviously somebody is listening to my conversation, which I have, believed for a long, long time, and others on telephone calls with me have noticed that certain things happen when I start saying things that are at all controversial. So this is my phone. Oh, it's been about 4 days now, and if you knew how isolated I am, that how dangerous it is, but that's just what I've got used to, and but also this is what I've got used to, and prior, to the last few days, I haven't wanted to get into the race things at all, because I have noticed that those with big channels like Terry and what have you, because I know that George Soros and, I'll watch my words now, those powers want to use that. They want to stir up the racial thing. So I just avoided it like the plague. And I also have found it rather strange that somebody with such controversial views and all these sort of, redneck comments they get hasn't been taken down at all. Yet I have been 3 times. So that should tell enough. So today, in my first video, which you'll see there's a red box, but the minute I started talking about it, for some reason, I was able to type in that red box. But lo and behold, yes, so I made made a fool of myself, because even though it was a red box, I was, let me just see, it's a bit hard, there it is, I was able to type something. But of course, as always the case, how it used to be, this comment does not meet the community guidelines. Please try another one. And I have written here, the only trouble with the portal is that it is easy to be tricked into signing the one you don't want to sign, as someone has cleverly put their own up, and that's the first one that comes up. I even sent the link to my daughter. So could you tell me anything that is at all controversial, at all offensive about that statement? No. But I'm not allowed to say it. Although I was allowed to say liars, because liars doesn't actually, hurt anyone, does it? But here, no, they don't want you to know that, because here, what we have here at Tariana's funeral, we have the great Willie Jackson and others talking about the calls for the extension on the treaty principle submission. Is because I was at Dame Tariana Turia's tangi yesterday, and it was brought up that Tariana would absolutely want our people to be doing the business instead of mourning her. And that's how fantastic and amazing she was to get on with the mahi. Well, that's a blimmin' joke, because wonderful, because when I had the audacity to actually put those submission bills on the Wanganui article, I was called gross and everything. But here he is saying, oh no, it's okay for Maoris to use the occasion of Tariana's funeral, to get out there, get the message out, but it's not okay for the white girl. No way. Well, I tell you, I have had it with all this, and I know, how intimidating they are, but I'm just going to send you something. So here, so it says here, the Labour Party is calling for an extension to the deadline for online submissions on the treaty principle bill in light of reports of people encountering error messages on the website on its final day. Okay, RNZ heard from people trying to submit on Monday night and Tuesday who had faced problems with the portal amid unprecedented numbers. Well, praise the Lord, I believe it will be numbers fighting for the bill. And now I'm just going to read out to you this letter that I wrote because Nania Mahuta has been given full life membership to the Labour Party, and I will just show you why in a minute after I have read this. And because this is what she said: one person, one vote works until it doesn't work. Oh yeah, what does that mean? Yeah, in other words, so I'm going to show you something from my own experience that happened 14 years ago. So what happens when it doesn't work? They make it work. Oh yes, the truth hidden in plain sight. 14 years ago, I met a woman at an art exhibition in Wellington who, along with her group, took credit for removing Mayor Kerry Prendergast. When I asked her why they did it, considering she was such a good mayor, she replied that although she was indeed a good mayor, they were concerned that her husband, as a property developer, would get too many favourable business contracts. We also got into the H debate, and after her claims that her grandmother always wrote Wanganui with an H, she left me with a note, a sketchbook, while she attended another visitor. In it, I saw not only Wanganui written without the H, but also the code names for Tariana Turia, Peter Sharples and others. True to the upriver Maori craft, we see again in the insistence of the H in my city's name the truth hidden in plain sight. Having lost the battle for Wanganui to those whose names and deaths are still commemorated on the Weeping Woman, whom they are trying to have removed from Motua Gardens by stealth, they creep, beheading the statues of those who commemorate their failure, thereby, according to their own customs of winner takes all, as shown recently in the decision given against the Moriori for the victor, despite the horror outcome of his decision, that the upriver Maori claim have no claim against Wanganui whatsoever, despite our grovelling mayor and councillors giving them the keys, and the seemingly innocuous H turns our city's name, meaning the Great Harbour, to become the Great Wait, after some cock and bull story of a chief who had to wait a long time for his bride to cross the river. If he was any kind of man, he would have swum over to her. Okay, so this is, I hope you could follow that, but this is what it's been like. And that story of this chief, if you actually go and look up the meaning of the name, Wanganui with an H, that is what is on, on computer, on Wikipedia or whatever. So they have infiltrated absolutely everything, as they have done, like my phone, this computer, all my emails, it's been years and years now, the people who have contacted me and I'll have contact with them, and then all of a sudden, crickets, and I, never hear from them again. So, it's all been pretty damn nasty, but I praise God that I really believe that what I saw down in Wellington that I've just told you about, which was 14 years ago, and it also was to do with, some will remember this gorgeous little boy, Charlie, who I was praying for at the time, and because his life was, I believe been taken by the spiritual forces, and I just prayed the whole weekend for him. So, and I believe that prayer was not only for Charlie, but it was for my whole country, and that it has been turned around, and that is why they're pulling out all the stops. I will show you not on this one, but another one, because this has sort of got me a little bit, excited. No, I'm not going to say stirred up, because I know this is a new time, and I know with certain people's, with Tariana's death, that, the time is over, and what they did try, just as in America, they have failed, and I have to believe that, and I am believing it, and a lot of Kiwis are also waking up to it and realising, that they have to do things in a different way and stop appeasing people that are lying, as I won't go into all that, but if we don't stand for truth now, then that's our ancestors, all the history is going to be overwritten, you know, and the likes of George you-know-what, who has had total control of not only the newspapers, but every kind of communication, Facebook, the whole lot, you know, that those people will succeed, and they are not succeeding. And they started all the time, you know, way at the war, after the, you know, the H-man's so-called defeat. But, you know, Trump has brought in the golden age, and we have to stand up and be strong. So that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I hope you'll stand with me and pray for you people. You know, those of you in America who don't know what I'm talking about, you know, just pray anyway for us, because, you know, I've been praying for your country, and we all have to be praying for each other. You know, when I had a dream of General Flynn. He came to New Zealand, and I was so happy to see him, you know, because you know, of the dream that I'd had years ago with when I got off the plane, and I got off the plane, an open-sided plane, stopped out at 2 American cities and said, "Thank God for the USA, you've saved the world, thank God for the USA." Well, I had a dream about Flynn, and he came to New Zealand, and he, you know, I went over, I was really happy to see him, and I just thanked him, you know, for saving the world. But he looked at me really sadly, and so I've always worried about poor old New Zealand since. It was like his look was saying, "Oh, sorry, we couldn't help you." So come what may, you know, our ancestors want us to be strong. You know, as I showed in that there, the whole thing with Wanganui, we have upriver Maori, and they have come. There's a statue called the Weeping Woman Monument, and that was I'll go and find it for you. A monument to not only the woman, but and what they suffered. But I think it was about 52 Maoris, Wanganui Maoris, who stood up against the upriver ones and defeated them. But of course, these very same Maori want to get that that monument taken down and moved, because, you know, Tariana found it offensive because it called them barbarians. Well, I think if we, you know, take the history of Moriori as any indication, you know, they were a lot more than just blooming, here it is here, barbaric, you know. But we have to now worry that the grandchildren, there it is there at the moment, that the grandchildren, and these are from the same people who, you know, it was quite fine for them to go and chop off the head of Major Kemp and others in there, you know, in the gardens, to destroy their statues, and then afterwards say, "Oh, it was a mistake," you know, when it found out, oh, that they were the greatest defenders of Maoridom, that these people stood up for really Maoridom. But of course, the people in Wanganui and these particular Maoris are those that lost, and according to their own customs, as I said in that letter, winner takes all, and a loser takes nothing. So they have to wipe out every reminder that they lost, you know, and thereby, you know, the whole H that they got into our river, it's all null and void. And the fact that Tariana has now even, you know, that they made our river into a person, they gave it its personhood, and then guess who got to be the mouthpiece of that personhood river? Okay, none other but Tariana. So, yeah, please forgive me for those who think I'm offending, being offensive. No, I'm standing up for my ancestors, you know, many of whom, you know, are in the blood, run in the same veins as Tariana and all the rest of Maoridom in New Zealand. So thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye-bye.